like I'm still like a little bit behind on my duelist role. I wasn't playing Jet last year. I was just playing Flex, Smokes, and that. So understanding the timings and like what power I have as Jet, or even Ray sometimes too. Like I can't. I just need to like understand that and trust everybody around me.
Hey guys, this is Pedro back with another interview covering VCT Americas Stage 1. This time I'm accompanied by jawgemo of Evil Geniuses who are coming off of a 2-0 loss to KRU Esports in the start of Super Week. So, jawgemo, like I said before the start of the recording, thank you so much for taking the time. And yeah, it's another loss to this team, this time against KRU. I mean, 13-5 on Lotus, 13-9 on Breeze. I mean, start off asking, how are you feeling at this moment in time?
Self not so great. Feel like I've been kind of lacking in my own gameplay for the stuff that's been going on. But time will tell. Like last year, it took a while for me to actually like get in the groove with with new teams, especially. Especially not having a core this year. I have to build. I have to build that with the coach and everybody else around me to become that. And get comfortable. Once I'm comfortable, I know I'll be okay. But right now, it's just like still learning. It's a learning process for me.
Yeah, as you said, starting over with this new team in EG compared to, in 2023, how has that process been like, for you as the only person remaining from that aforementioned core for this year? How's that process kind of been like for you?
Um, I think I think I've got it down for like outside of the game, like in practice, but right now I think I'm on my last step of learning, which is basically just learning how to play on stage with each other. I think that's the very last step that I'm trying to figure out how to be better at it with the team as well.
Yeah, now a little bit going back to the series, of course, losing on Lotus and then in Breeze, and then yeah, just kind of walk me through how that kind of series transpired from your eyes, and what do you think was the biggest, issues that faced the team against teams such as Crew, and yeah, everything else of the like.
Yeah, like we had numbers up one round, and I think we kept pressing the issue, keep going forward, and then definitely kind of like lost our morale a little bit whenever we died. In that 2-5 or 3-5, whatever the case was. There's a couple thrifties, how the thrifties don't really help out either, So like, like I said, it's still like a process for all of us. Just trying to like get that huge macro down, just letting us like each other know that let's just go back and let's just do, let's just hold the site instead or play crossfires. So that's some stuff that some groins and pains that we're still learning. Like I said, still a process that we don't have down fully yet, but it's today would probably be the best learning day for that. Seeing that, watching it back tonight, you know.
Now just focusing on yourself, of course, not really the best performance, from you, given the standard that you've set, in matches, in past matches, past years, anything else of like, I mean, just focusing on yourself, what kind of issues did you kind of see for yourself, as a duelist and anything else of the like?
Yeah, I said this a couple times in other interviews. Like I'm still like a little bit behind on my duelist role. I wasn't playing Jet last year. I was just playing Flex, Smokes, and that. So understanding the timings and like what power I have as Jet, or even Ray sometimes too. Like I can't. I just need to like understand that and trust everybody around me, trust the team, trust that hopefully the team trusts me to make that call as well. But yeah, it's definitely just like we're like I said, we're a brand new team. The first split matters, but like if we have to lose, I'm saying 0-4, 0-3, whatever the case is, that'll help us eventually. I mean that's what happened last year as well. Um, but like I definitely don't try to like ponder on too much of last year because last year's it was a year that we all had like on the old previous EG that had success. Now it's where can I find success now for each other on this new team. And I think that's what all the teams looking for. I put all my new teammates at the highest level. I trust them in like all the moments that we need to, and I think they're everybody's just learning. It's just a learning. Every day is a new learning day, and as long as we get together and we power through, we'll be okay.
Given all you said about learning and stuff, what's been the kind of one thing that the team has been able to learn the most so far, at this point of the year?
Just like learning our new like our ooh, just learning how to like do our mid rounds better. You know, like we've been definitely like learning how to slow the game down and make the enemies worry about our pace instead of worrying about their pace. That's what like our biggest thing that we've been like. I feel like we've been doing way better at, and time will tell where like once we can like mind game most of the players on the server, it will be okay.
Yeah, I want to cite a press interview that you said about how, you talked to Brandon Moore of esports.gg, and you mentioned about how you were focusing on being more of a communicator, for the team at the start of or before the start of kickoff. I mean, I just want to know like how has that kind of aspect been developing slash evolving on that front for you, at this point in time.
Uh, s- some days whenever it's on point, it's I can definitely like direct a lot. Um, but it's like like the days like this, it's hard to direct whenever you get shut down a little bit. So it's kind of like it's a mixture of both. Like once our IGL tells me what should be the best option for that reason, or like if I have the best option for my reasoning. We just have as long as we have the ideas flowing, I think that's where we strive the strongest. We have a few people that can set the pace of the round and do that, and I think that's what we've been just trying to figure out as well. Like, how can we make that consistent? Because it does get kind of hard, when you're down a lot or you have zero kills, but or like I was down zero kills for a few rounds, but like I knew that I was still doing what I had to do to set somebody else up, and if it wasn't good enough, we lost the round. But it is what it is. That's how I'm looking at it. I'm definitely still mad about it. But I can't change the past. I can only look straight now. So.
Yeah, of course, of course. And you mentioned a little bit about you talked a little bit about, transitioning from flex slash being on race for last year, now going to mostly fully duelist. I mean, how has focusing on that front now? I mean, how has that kind of transition been like for you? And yeah, how's that transition been like for you for this year?
It's a little bit rough. I know I used to play it back then, previous before franchise. It was a little bit easier because everything's pretty brand new. There's not that much video on me, stuff like that. Now it's just more of like need to understand like what's higher percentage and what's gonna actually win us the round if I'm still playing Jet or Rays, whatever the case is, right? And on top of that, just like having the mindset of just go get the frags and when to play more proper as well, like learning how to trade or like playing crossfires. Like, I've been out of hand a few times where like the trades or I've been too far up or something like that. Like when I was playing Omen, let's say I play Omen one map and I played Raze the next map. That first game of Omen would just be like, or a controller would be just like me knowing like, oh, I'm setting up somebody else. So like I'm processing like other people's emotions and thoughts and ideas of how they're playing the game of the day for the day, and then once I process that, when I want to raise, I can assume that I know this util will be good because the other person was getting good util earlier that game from the previous map. My initiators and mid rounders are figuring out like what there is a setup, and I can tell if they're scared or not from the previous game if they don't have a read for the time being. But basically, once I get the expressions or their voices of like being like really good, or like not being really good, being really confident in their calling or their mid rounding, that's when I excel pretty much. That's what I'm trying to say. But once we were a little bit lost, that was the biggest thing now. Like once we get a little bit lost, like even if I get lost too, it's a little bit of a setback, and I have to like rethink the stuff that I feel like I shouldn't think sometimes. But it is a team game, so it's like I said like before, as long as we're all processing and going through the round and understanding ideas and the next step, we're pretty much golden. But we haven't got to see that on stage yet. Only like one or two maps that we had like uh high conquer or like high I don't even know like high like rounds over the other team. Like we had more chances or whatever the case is, or we had 13-5, whatever the case, right? Um, and also like bringing back that the topic you said, like having our energy high or low, it definitely defeats the purpose of the day sometimes. Like if we're too low, we're not as crazy. But when energy's high, it's just like another day, like in the office or in the game, you know. So
Yeah, it really does, depend on how the team is doing, in the lead up and even during matches. If they're winning, then yeah, as you said, energy is going to be high. Then if not, then yeah, then doesn't the energy is not low, and then that kind of affects everything else, surrounding the team, not just as an individual. Now going over to your upcoming schedule, from this on is not even going to get easier from my point of view. Taking on
yeah.
Sentinels and NRG, Sentinels in a few days, and then NRG next week. I mean, just sort of how crucial do you feel these next two matches are going to be, for EG and their chances for, maybe contending for a spot in stage one, and then also just setting the foundation for stage two?
Definitely gonna come in with a different mindset, probably as a whole team as well. Like, I mean, we got nothing to lose. That's kind of how it was last year as well. We had nothing to lose for the whole year, and pretty sure that's gonna be the confidence make or break for us. Once we know that, like, it doesn't matter at this point, as in, like, like, it doesn't matter if we lose. We're still like we're here to like improve day by day. So, the win just comes with it, of course. So with the next, we have like 1 or 2 more days until we play Sentinels, and that'll show us like how much we strive from this loss and how much we learned from this loss. And that'll make up basically our next 2 wins. Rewatching this, being confident coming in the next time, and just not worrying about what could it be in the future. It's got to be what's now, and that's what I think that's gonna change the pace of us.
Yeah, despite this loss and now, hopefully you guys can bounce back for the future. Whether you guys get the win or not, the matter is just to improve, and hopefully you guys are able to do exactly that. Jagamo, thank you so much for taking the time doing this interview despite the result. I really appreciate it, and best of luck goes to you and the rest of the team.
Thank you, Pedro. You have a good one. Thank you.